StraighTAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, confidence, to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is, let's talk financial security and financial freedom. That is the topic here today. But before we get into that, I remind everybody, I send out a daily motivation text message free of charge every single morning to everybody in my text community. This message is guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day. All you got to do to receive this message is text me at my direct text number, which is 305-384-6894. And every day starting tomorrow morning, when the daily motivation text comes out, you shall be receiving that message. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That is the place where I do all my coaching. People ask me, Dre, do you do any kind of coaching? Is there any way I can work with you directly? Is there any way I can just ask you questions and share with you my progress and what I'm working on from time to time and get some feedback from you on it? The answer is yes. I do all of those things, and there is a way for you to do that. And the way is for you to be a member of Work on Your Game University. The way you join the university, where we focus specifically on mindset, which is your mental game strategy, which is your game plan. What exactly are you going to do? Systems, which is how do you make your game plan happen and get executed over and over and over again like clockwork. And accountability / execution, which is making sure you are doing what you're supposed to do and having someone and something in place to make sure you know that it knows that you know you need to be doing your thing, or otherwise you're going to get called out for it. And that's a big thing that helps a lot of people perform at a much higher level, much more consistently. All of that happens inside of Work on Your Game University. The way you join is by going to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can schedule a call with me or someone on my team, and we will discuss where you're at, where you want to go. If we could possibly help, we'll tell you how it works, what it looks like, and all of that. That is all at workonyourgameuniversity.com. So with all that said, let's get into the topic of financial security and financial freedom. Now, I'm getting into this topic not from the angle of telling you what it would take for you to personally have financial security, because that's a personal topic that only you can answer for yourself, because you got to know your situation. I don't know your situation, so I'm not talking about, hey, you need to make this much money, or you got to sell this many products, or you got to put this much in savings. That's not the angle from which I'm talking about this. So now, you can hire some financial expert who can help you with that, because they would know your personal situation as long as you tell them what it is. What I'm going to talk about today is from the angle of you getting clear on what that answer is using the framework that I'm going to lay out here today. And I'm going to lay this out for a specific reason, which I'm going to get into as we get into our points. So the angle that I'm going to approach this from is more of the mindset and the mindset and your posture. And when I say posture, I don't necessarily mean standing up straight with your shoulders back and your head up, even though that can help you. I'm talking about your posture, your emotional and mental posture when it comes to you creating financial freedom, financial security, whatever phrase you want to use. The reason that I'm bringing this up is because I'll get into my points, and I'll get into that, the why of it in these points. Let's get into it. Point number one. Topic once again is financial security and financial freedom. Number one point is clarity, clarity, clarity. Clarity, clarity, clarity. What does the word clarity mean? It means the quality of being coherent and intelligible, or the quality of transparency or purity. Why am I saying this? Why is this the first point in the episode about financial freedom and financial security? This is important not only on the subject of finances, which we're talking about here today, but other subjects that are important to you in your life. Why? Because I often ask questions to my audiences about their goals or future plans. Now, whenever I ask a group of people, like a large group of people, it's not necessarily specifically chosen for any reason. It's just people who happen to come across me, or they happen to be in front of me for whatever reason. And I ask them about their goals for the future in any aspect of life. It doesn't have to be money. One of the most common things I see in the responses that I get, and I get a lot of different responses, is that many people have very poor clarity on what exactly their goals are and how exactly they're going to reach them. And it's an alarming, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's very consistent that this happens, let's put it that way. An alarming trend, we'll say, that people have very, very, very poor clarity. They don't know exactly what they want. Now, people will throw out phrases, pet phrases that sound good, and things that sound good when said, but there's no substance behind it. Now, how do I know there's no substance behind it? Because I dig deeper. When people throw out phrases, like they'll say something like, well, I want to be financially free. And I say, okay, what does that mean? And their answers tell me that they don't even know what it means. They have no idea what it means even for them to be financially free. They don't know their numbers. They don't know, they don't have a time frame for this. They have not really given it any real thought. They're just throwing things out that sound good and make them feel good to talk about, but there's no actual game plan to making it happen. And here's the thing that you all need to understand, folks. If you do not have a clear game plan on making some goal or dream of yours happen, the chances of it actually happening are slim to none. It's very unlikely that you're going to make something happen if you don't have a clear plan on making it happen, and also when you haven't given any real thought to how you're going to make it happen. And many times, and I hear this from people often, oftentimes from people who are the very listeners to the show, not everybody, but very listeners to the show, I can tell that people haven't put any real thought into their goals. You don't put any thought into your goals, how do you think they're going to happen? You got to really put some time into this stuff, folks. This is the most important thing you could do, is think about where you're going with the time you have left on this planet. What else is more important than that? It's people's clarity. Lack of clarity is one of the main reasons people do not reach outcomes. The good thing about financial goals, for example, is that you can do simple mathematics and get an exact number that is easily measurable and clearly defined, as opposed to other goals like, let's say, emotional goals or lifetime goals, which may not always be measurable. Those are harder to get a grasp on because you can't measure them. So they're more ethereal, they're more intangible. But a financial goal is pretty tangible. You can just look at it. All right, did I hit the number or did I not? Now, it doesn't mean it will be easy to reach, but at least you know exactly where you're at. Right? If you know where you're at, then you can do something about it. If you don't know where you are, or you think you're here, but somebody else thinks you're there, and someone else thinks you're over here, and you can't even get clarity on where exactly you are, then it's hard to get to where you're going. That's why this is so important. Let me say that again. If you cannot get clarity on where exactly you are, then it will be very difficult for you to get to where you're going. So if financial freedom is one of your goals, and I hear this from people a lot, so I know I'm talking to some people right now, you need to get clear on what financial freedom is and what it looks like for you. What exactly does it look like? Keyword, exactly. What exactly would need to be true in your life for you to know that you are financially secure, or financially free? I posed this question, or something that sounded like this question, to my text community once, and I got responses from people, and this was not... Let me say what kind of response I got first. First, people would say, well, no, I just know I need to make a lot of money. How much? Well, you get the round numbers. So I want to make millions. Somebody said they want to make millions. Okay, do you think that person is going to become financially free if that's their goal? And mind you, these are not 16-year-olds writing me back. These are people who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 30s saying these things that clearly they haven't put any thought into this, which is alarming because, again, how are you going to get there? You haven't really put any thought into making it happen, but it's kind of like a pipe dream for you, a daydream. Or somebody says, well, I need to make $10,000 a month, which is a common number you hear from entrepreneurs. All right, you got to really put some thought into this, folks. You need to sit down with a pen and paper, find out exactly where you are. First of all, open up all your accounts, find out exactly where you are, then find out exactly what you need, and then find out where you want to be, how much time you got to get there. All right, these are things you need to be doing. Now, again, a financial expert can sit down and help you with this stuff, but somebody needs to do it, and you need to be a part of the process because it's your life we're talking about here. How much money do you need to have? How much do you need to be earning? What vehicle will you use to get there? When I say vehicle, I don't mean a Toyota or a Mercedes or a Rolls Royce. I mean, how are you going to make your money? Is it going to be through your entrepreneurship? Are you going to make investments? You want to buy you're going to own some real estate? Is it through your full-time job? Is it a combination of those? What is it? What's going to be your vehicle for making this happen? And what is that vehicle producing right now? Are you on track to getting there right now? On track means if you just keep doing the exact thing you're doing right now, the things that we can measure, are you on your way to getting there? If not, then that means you need to make more. You need to earn more money from where? Where's it going to come from? How are you going to do it? You need to earn 10 times more than you're earning right now, but you're just going to keep doing the same things you've always been doing? Really? Do you really call that a plan? Can you look yourself in the mirror with a straight face and call that a plan? Because it's not a plan. And again, I've heard this from too many people. All right, so you need to answer these questions and really think about this stuff. What needs to change? If so, what needs to change? And if so, how does it need to change? And then what are you going to do to actually make it change? Because you doing everything by yourself has gotten you to where you are right now. So if you know that you need to 10x your income, and you know that's the thing that needs to change, you doing it all by yourself, the chances of you 10xing your income by continuing to do things by yourself when you've gotten to this point by yourself, slim and none. I mean, come on folks, let's be honest. So answering these questions will help you get clarity on where you are and where you need to be. Number one tool, the most successful, most productive, most effective people in the world is focus. Number one tool, focus. Clarity and focus go hand in hand. When someone's focused, they have clarity. Give someone clarity, they will be able to focus. They are eligible to focus. Why? Because they know exactly what they're doing. A lack of clarity is the enemy of focus. Point number 2. Today's topic, we're talking about financial freedom and financial security. So number 2, now let's get specific. How long do you plan on living? How long do you plan on living? How much money will you need every month between now and then? This is a question you really need to answer. Consider your lifestyle. Consider who you're financially responsible for, if anyone. Any possible upgrades or changes you will make in your future that will change your lifestyle or who you're financially responsible for. Also factor in the prices 10 years from now will be higher than they are now. All right, and factor in inflation. Factor in where you will be 10, 20 years and 30 years from now. Maybe you'll be earning more money 10, 20, 30 years from now. Maybe you ain't got 30 more years to work. Maybe you're 50 years old right now and you ain't gonna be working another 30 years. Where you need to be by the time you hit retirement 15 years from now. This is a rough sketch of how to start thinking about your financial future. But given the answers that I get when I ask people about their goals, what I just gave you is 10 times better than what I hear from a whole lot of you. Let's be honest. I'll be honest. Y'all don't see the answers. Y'all get the answers. Y'all don't see I see all the answers in aggregate. What I just gave you here at the start of point number 2 is 10 times better than what I hear from a bunch of you when it comes to you thinking about where you're going financially or where you're at financially. Just getting specific and answering these questions and really thinking about it. Not trying to answer them as quickly as possible, but answering them as accurately and as in-depth as possible is more important. So this would be a great start for a bunch of you. Now, if this seems overwhelming to you, start by simply calculating how much money you're spending every month. You should know. How much money do you spend every month? How much money did you spend last month? The last month that completed, how much money did you spend? You should know. You should not be estimating this number. You should know. Why should you know? Because you should be tracking this stuff. Folks, anything that you want to get good at, you should be paying close attention to it. You want to get good at earning money, then you need to be paying attention to where your money's coming from and where it's going. Meaning you should know where it's coming from and where it's going. You should know 3 months ago I made this much from this and I spent this much on that. You should know the exact dollar amount. How much did you spend? You should know. If you don't know, that means you're not paying enough attention to it. If you're not paying attention to something, then you're not going to have clarity. If you don't have clarity, you can't have focus. And focus is the number one tool of people who are successful in anything. So you want to get successful with money, you got to get focused on money. We talked about this before. An episode where I just told you is about the money. All right, if you want it to be about the money, you got to focus on the money. All right, there's nothing wrong with focusing on money if your goal is money. All right, if your goal is success, you need to focus on success. Whatever your goal is in life, you need to be focused on that thing. Whatever that thing happens to be, that's where your focus needs to be. And a bunch of you are just not focused enough on the thing that you say you want to be good at. Episode 2620, I just told you it's about the money. Episode number 2604, why to focus on making money. I literally laid this out for you. Episodes 2569, 2570, and 2571. Money Increasing Myths, parts 1, 2, and 3. Episode 2557, stay close to the money. All right, so you see we talked about this a lot. Episode 2505, what it really takes to make money. Episode number 2478, money, wealth, and poverty a discussion. This is just in the last 100 or so days that I've talked about these things. But I'm talking about money in a lot of episodes here on the show. Probably 50 plus episodes. I'm just looking through my episode archive here. And by the way, the full archive of episodes is at workonyourgamepodcast.com, if anybody didn't know. So you need to know. You need to be tracking every dollar that comes in, every dollar that goes out of your life, period. Whether it's for your personal life, whether it's for your kids, your spouse, your business, charity, whatever. Every dollar that comes in, every dollar that goes out, you should be tracking it. You should know exactly how much, when, where, from where to go, where to come from. You should know. Remember, what you focus on, you create more of, and because you are using the power of your brain, you will inevitably get better at it because you are focused on it. Anything you focus on, you'll get better at, but you got to focus on it. Point number 3, today's topic once again is financial freedom and financial security. Number 3, if your current steps, what you've been doing before you listen to today's episode, are not getting you where you want to go, consider that you may be playing the wrong game or you're playing the right game the wrong way. You may be playing the wrong game or you're playing the right game the wrong way. Or you may be in the wrong vehicle. Now, either way, any one of these 3, you need to get yourself some help because your time is limited. Your time will eventually run out. All right, your viability in the marketplace, in other words, your shelf life for which you can actually earn the money that you want to make, does not go on forever. All right, there's a certain time when nobody's going to be willing to pay you what you want to make simply because you don't have the viability to produce at the level at which you want to get paid. Everybody get what I'm saying? All right, this is why we have retirement age in the United States, is they want to push you out so they can bring in somebody newer and younger who probably will demand less money, command less money. All right, this is a real thing, right? Any of you know anybody who's retired? All right, this is real. This is not a joke. A retiree, their last year before they retire in the marketplace usually commands more money than someone who's brand new in the marketplace. Why? Because the retiree or the soon-to-be retiree has all those years of experience on which they can basically command higher returns. The new person has no experience, so they're okay accepting a lot less. This is why somebody can have 30 years of experience working at a company get pushed out by somebody with 3 months of experience. Why? Because the person with 3 months of experience commands half the salary. And the company is trying to hold on to some money, so we can pay half the salary to somebody else. Why don't we just get rid of the old guy and bring a new person in? All right, has any of you ever seen this happen? All right, some of you have done it to people. Some of you have had it done to you, and some of you are going to have it done to you. So y'all better wake up. All right, this is not a joke. So some of you may be in the wrong vehicle for getting to where you want to get to, or you just don't know how to play the game that you don't even know that you're in. So ask yourself, are your current methods of generating revenue enough to help you make the amount of money that you need to live the life that you want over the next 10 or 20 years? The life you want to live for the next 10 or 20 years, if you're already living it, is your current situation generating enough for you to maintain it? And those of you who are not living the life you want to live right now, is your current situation generating enough for you to get to it and to maintain it? What about to take care of your kids, if you have any, or the kids that you will soon have, or other family members you may become responsible for or are already responsible for? Or what about the lifestyle you personally want to live, if it's a higher level lifestyle than what you're living right now? Have you chosen a vehicle that, even if you were to get as good as you could be at it, does it have the potential to yield the kind of results that you want? I mean, is there, even at its max, can it even produce what you want it to produce? I understand that right now you may not be at full capacity of your ability at your thing, but even at full capacity, is the thing that you're doing something that has the potential to yield the outcomes that you want? That's a question. When I was a senior in high school, I worked at McDonald's. All right, the lifestyle that I wanted to live, the only way that I could afford that lifestyle working at McDonald's if I became a franchisee and owned the McDonald's, and then there was a whole different set of skills I would need to develop in order to do that, and it would change the entire trajectory of everything I was planning on doing if I was going to go that route. So since I had no aims of becoming a McDonald's franchisee, I knew I had to get the hell out of McDonald's because it was the wrong vehicle given my goals and given the limitations that I set on myself, which is I don't want to become a McDonald's franchisee. That was a limitation I put on myself. That was a constraint that I gave myself. And constraints are good because they remove options. And often human beings make more efficient decisions and act with more decisiveness when we have fewer options rather than more options, paradoxically. Napoleon Hill, for example, is the author of Think and Grow Rich. He wrote a great self-help book that has inspired millions of people over the last century. And if you have not read Think and Grow Rich, I would suggest you go find a copy and read that book immediately. Anyone who's in personal professional development should read Think and Grow Rich. You should read that book at least 5 times. Read it every year for 5 years straight. But what many people don't know about Napoleon Hill is that many times in his life, even after that book came out, he was not in a good financial space. There are many times he was just destitute, poor, and broke. Why is this? Because Napoleon Hill chose a vehicle that did not yield itself to the type of outcomes that his book discussed. Napoleon Hill was in the personal development space. It was a good space to be in. The challenge is it's not so easy to sell personal development for the kind of money that Napoleon Hill talked about in his book Think and Grow Rich, or the kind of money that many of you talk about when I ask you where you're trying to go financially. Now, there was another man named W. Clement Stone. Now, W. Clement Stone, he read the book Think and Grow Rich. He didn't write it, he read it, just like all of us. And he was inspired by it, as all of us were. Now, W. Clement Stone applied the principles of Think and Grow Rich to a vehicle that did yield the outcomes that he wanted. He applied it to the insurance industry. W. Clement Stone was in insurance. He applied his principles to that vehicle, and he became very rich. And later in his career, Napoleon Hill was employed by W. Clement Stone. So the guy who wrote the book, the teacher, actually became the employee of one of his own students, because W. Clement Stone applied the principles of Think and Grow Rich to a vehicle that made sense for producing the outcomes that he wanted, whereas Hill did not apply the principles of the book to the right vehicle. He didn't have the right system. Hill had the right idea, but he didn't have the right system, and there's a difference. So what was the difference between the two men? They both understood the principles of the book. I mean, Hill wrote the damn book. Difference that they used different vehicles. One of them opened itself to a system. It yielded itself to a system. That was W. Clement Stone, was the guy who became rich. The other one had the principles, but it didn't yield itself to a system. And that was Napoleon Hill. And that's why he ended up in the employ of somebody else. It doesn't make him a bad guy. It's just, again, based on your goals, are you in the right vehicle? We talked about this in the Work on Your Game principles. That was episode number 2219, 2220, 2221, and 2222, the 12 Work on Your Game commandments. One of those commandments is the right vehicle. You got to be in the right vehicle to get to the outcome that you want. If your goal is you want to make $1 million a year, but you're right now flipping burgers at McDonald's, getting better at flipping those burgers is not going to get you closer to that $1 million. It's going to take you too long. You're not going to accumulate enough raises in pay in order to make that kind of money. You're in the wrong vehicle. You get what I'm saying? Now, if you go own a McDonald's, now that vehicle might work. Now, you got to go do your due diligence, but understand what I'm saying. Let's recap today's class, which is financial security and financial freedom. This topic is not from, again, what you need to personally have for financial security. That's a personal topic that a financial expert can help you with. But what I'm going to get into here today is really about the mental and emotional state you need to be in to understand where you're going with this, if this is a goal of yours. Point number one, clarity, clarity, clarity. This is important not only to the subject of finances, but any other subject in life in which you want to be successful. You need to get clear on what exactly your goal is and how exactly you want to get there. Number one tool, the most successful, most productive, most effective people is focus. Clarity supports focus, and a lack of clarity is an enemy of focus. Many of you have very little clarity on how you're actually going to reach your goals and what your process is going to be to get there. I know because I see the responses that you all have given me, and a lot of you need clarity more than anything. Not skill, clarity. Number two, let's get specific. How long do you plan on living? How much money do you need every month between now and then? Think about your lifestyle. Think about who you're financially responsible for. Think about upgrades or changes to your lifestyle. Factor in that prices will go up. We call that inflation. That hopefully what you can command in the marketplace goes up. That's just your value has increased. All right. Just these questions alone, just this starter kit of questions is 10 times better than where a lot of you are when it comes to goals, because you don't ask yourself specific questions. You have these really vague ideas that we can't even call these goals. Very vague ideas and no plans whatsoever for how exactly you're going to make them happen. And you're sitting around thinking because you're a certain age and because you see yourself as having time that things will eventually work themselves out. No, they won't. They will not work themselves out. Remember, you're not in school anymore. In school, there's a system designed to push you forward and make you kind of have to figure things out, at least on a baseline level. In quote unquote real life, that system does not exist. They just leave you there. So if you're the same person at 48 that you were at 28, you have nobody to blame but yourself. And if you don't get urgent and wake up to this reality, you will be the same person at 48 that you were at 28, or the same person at 68 that you are right now at 48. This happens to people simply because you never gain clarity and you never get serious about asking yourself any real questions. Point number 3. If your current process is not getting you where you want to go, consider you may either be playing the wrong game, you're playing the right game the wrong way, or you're in the wrong vehicle. Could be one of 3, could be all of them. Are your current methods of generating revenue making you the kind of money that you need to have to live the life you want to live over the next 10 to 20 years? You should know the answer to the question. Whether it's yes or no, you got to know the answer. What about the lifestyle you want to live? What about if you were to get as good as you could, do you have the potential to yield the kind of results that you want in your current vehicle? Again, sometimes it's just the wrong vehicle. Some of you need to change vehicles. You're in a vehicle that can't produce the outcomes that you want, even if you were the best in the world at that thing. So, or you're playing a game that is simply the wrong game for you to win, or you're playing the right game, but you don't know how to play the game. So you need some help because you don't even know what you're doing. Like, you're in a space that could actually get you where you want to go, but you have no idea what you're doing in that space. And you think if you just keep working on your own, well, you'll eventually figure it out. Well, you already tried to figure it out. How long you been doing that? All right, at what point do you say, okay, I have enough data of what happens when I work on things on my own to know that I should probably stop working on things on my own? All right, how many times have you heard me talk about this right here on this show? Because I see so many people doing it, talking themselves to sleep, that are about to, let me just keep doing the same thing that I've been doing that is clearly not working. But hey, maybe one day it will. All right, that kind of wishful thinking, all right, you know where you end up? All right, it's not in a good place, let's put it that way. With all that said, text me, let me know the best insight you got from today's class. My number is 305-384-6894. Every day when that daily motivation comes out, because you text me, you'll be in my text community. You'll get the daily motivation. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That's the only place to work with me directly, the only place to be coached with me directly. You can join the university by going to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Hop on a free call with me or somebody on my team. We'll see where you're at, where you want to go, how we can possibly help, and we'll tell you how to get started. All that's at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all day.